What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. I'm going to do something a little different today, a little special. I'm going to do 25 questions instead of my regular 10, and they're all going to be about The Last Jedi. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, turn this video off right now. Like, right now. Darum asks, do you think we'll be seeing any more of Snoke in this trilogy, be it via flashbacks or some kind of Force sorcery? What about in other media? If not, do you think his origins will be explained more thoroughly? I think that he will not appear in Episode 9. I think that for this trilogy of films, he's done. I don't think he matters anymore. Just my opinion, but I do think he will show up in other media. I think that we as fans deserve to get answers about him. I think we deserve to know kind of who he is and where he came from, but mostly how he rose to power. So I would expect that we're going to get a book about him, probably just called Snoke, kind of like the book Tarkin or Phasma or Thrawn, and I think that we will get an explanation about his backstory. Anthony Sardinas wants to know how I feel about Rey's parentage reveal. I'm a little bit skeptical of it right now. I just think it's possible that Kylo is either making an assumption or he is being manipulative. I just don't know how he would know for sure that her parents were Junkers. Like, why would he know that? But if it turns out that that's the truth, I'm okay with it. I don't need all these questions about Rey answered. Like, I do think that her being so strong in the Force points to having Force-sensitive parents, but it's not a prerequisite. So if it turns out that that's the truth, I'm fine with it. Sam Cantor asks, who were Princess Leia's allies in the Outer Rim? I thought maybe Wedge Antilles or Lando, but I have no idea. You know, the people I kept hoping would show up, only because I've been theorizing this, and even that theory I think is kind of wild and out there. I wanted it to be the Chiss. I wanted the Chiss Ascendancy to come in and save the day. I knew that was so unlikely, just because if they came in and they were like, the Chiss Ascendancy is here, most of the theater would be like, what? And it'd be me and a few other people standing and cheering. Most people would be confused, but knowing that the Chiss are actually beyond the Outer Rim, I just was kind of thinking that maybe there was a slight chance. But yeah, they kept saying we have allies in the Outer Rim. Even in the Project Resurrection DLC for Battlefront 2, Leia sends Zay Versio off to find their allies in the Outer Rim, and nobody showed up. So yeah, what's going on there? I don't know. I'm guessing that the allies they were referring to are just people. Anthony Sardinas again, do you think Captain Phasma is dead? Yeah, I kind of do. I am not happy about it because the Phasma book and the Phasma comic built her up to be this unstoppable force, and I was like, for sure, The Last Jedi is going to do her justice. They've fixed her. She got the short end of the stick in The Force Awakens, and in The Last Jedi, she's going to come back stronger than ever. Nope, was wrong about that. I thought that she was the weakest part of the film. I am bummed that she technically beat Finn, but then she got hit in the face after being distracted. Like, she was laying there on the ground, and I was like, get up, Phasma, please. Like, just do something cool. I want her to have something cool on the big screen. Why can't they translate her badassery from the books and the comics onto film? Why is that so hard? So, yeah, I think it's highly unlikely that she survived a fall into an explosion where nothing but the empty vacuum of space was beneath. I think she's most likely dead. Josh McIntyre asks, between spotting all the characters from Canto Bight in the film, seeing Luke's compass from Battlefront 2, his fishing spear from Luel in The Legends of Luke Skywalker, what was your favorite little nod to something from the wider canon? Great question. Honestly, it was the fishing in Luel. I thought that was a pretty neat tie-in. And you know that The Last Jedi was made before all of this stuff. I mean, they saw what he did in the film, and then Ken Liu, who wrote The Legends of Luke, was like, oh, you know what would be cool is if I kind of touched on the origin story of how he learned to fish. which isn't exactly the point of that story, but that is actually further proof that that story about the tide and all that is almost certainly true, because the Legends of Luke Skywalker book is supposed to be full of tall tales, but that one seemed like it was a first-hand account. I think it was a true story, so that just lends further credence to that theory. Roy Beasley wants to know if Luke put the Jedi books on the Falcon when he went on there to reminisce, or did his apparition do it? I think Rey did it. I think that Rey didn't trust Luke with those books. She wanted to learn and he wasn't giving her what she needed, so she went and she took the books and put them on the Falcon and left. And then Yoda, when he saw that Luke was going to burn the tree and then hesitated, Yoda probably knew that the tree was empty and set it on fire because he's a funny little guy. Anthony Sardinas asks, how do I think Rey will make her new lightsaber and what color do I think it'll be? I think there are probably schematics or instructions in those books that she stole, and she will follow them. It's kind of similar to Luke in Star Wars Legends. He found some instructions in Obi-Wan's hut, and that's how he built his green lightsaber. What color will it be? I don't know. I think blue or green is the most likely, but what I am more excited about the potential of, besides the color, is, and a lot of people have said this, I want her to build a double-bladed lightsaber. I think that would be really cool and would fit her skill set. Ben Stoneman asks, will we see more Force Ghosts in Episode 9, aside from Luke, as I assume that's a certainty. I really want to see Anakin. Yeah, I think we're going to see more Force Ghosts. I also think / hope that Luke is a certainty. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker. I need him back. I was really hoping we would see like a ton of Force Ghosts in this movie. Yoda was enough. I felt vindicated for that. I was hoping that Obi-Wan was going to step out of that tree when Luke kind of hesitated. And then, why not like Anakin can pop out and then Qui-Gon? Like, I would have loved to see all of them, but yeah, I don't think we're done with Force Ghosts. Although, it's tough to say. I think it's, like you said, I think Luke definitely will show up. I don't know if we're going to get more than that. Anthony Sardinas, the 5 Jedi that Kylo took from Luke's school to make the Knights of Ren. Why do you think they don't use lightsabers since they're Jedi? I remember Luke saying that Kylo took a handful of his students and killed the rest. So we don't know for sure that that handful is the Knights of Ren. I don't think that's a crazy assumption to make, but it's not confirmed, so I'm not prepared to really say any more beyond the Knights of Ren until we know more about them, which, again, I was really hoping we would learn more about them in this movie, but we didn't. Ben Stoneman asks for my thoughts on all the crazy force powers we saw, Snoke linking Rey and Kylo, and of course Luke's grand finale move at the end. Yeah, I thought they were all cool. I really loved having Rey and Kylo talking from across the galaxy, and their chemistry was good. Like, I mentioned in my review that I never gave much credence to Reylo, but the second they started talking, I was like, I get it. I'm on board. Like, they work. So I really liked that dynamic, and it set everything up well for Luke's twist at the end, even though I think probably most people watching this video caught that it wasn't really him because he looked younger, he had the blue lightsaber. I mean, the second I saw the hilt, I was like, that can't be him. But, and Kylo should have recognized that. He literally just broke that lightsaber. But yeah, I thought that all of the uses of what's basically like a stronger version of force projection, I guess. That's a power from Star Wars Legends, except they seem to be like physical projections. I mean, crazy stuff. But I was a fan of it. Felipe Benz Eli asks, do you think Snoke's death might have been planned all along to bring Kylo fully to the dark side, and is he actually alive? Maybe as Darth Plagueis, he can just revive himself. Nah, I think Snoke's dead. I don't think he was planning to get his arms cut off and to be cut in half and all that. I think Kylo pulled a fast one on him, and Snoke planned to live forever because, I mean, he's clearly got to be so old. But yeah, I do not think that was planned. I don't think he's coming back. There's the possibility he could, but I just don't think he will. Starfact wants to know, was it just me, or was I have a bad feeling about this never said in The Last Jedi? I didn't realize that until I read your question, and I think you're right. I don't think anyone said I have a bad feeling about this, but I have my own crazy little fan theory about it. When Rey was getting in that pod to go to the Supremacy, she tells Chewbacca, if you see Finn before I do, tell him. And then Chewie says something and she says, yes, that would be perfect. It wouldn't make any sense, but I like to think that Chewie said, I have a bad feeling about this. But, maybe one of the droids said it, BB-8 or BB-9E or R2, who knows? They can get around it, but it's also possible that they just did away with that tradition. I don't recall hearing a Wilhelm scream either. And if we're going to get a Star Wars movie every single year, eventually they're going to have to break these traditions. For example, R2 and 3PO so far have been in every single Star Wars movie. I don't think they should be in the Han Solo movie. So they need to break that tradition. And if they start breaking them in The Last Jedi, it's like, okay, we're going to start getting away from some of these things that have been cornerstones of every Star Wars movie. Joshua Schweitzer asks, is Kylo Ren the new Supreme Leader? And in relation to that question, where does Hux fit in all this? Especially after they both tried to seize power from one another throughout the last act of the film. First of all, I want to say that I really loved the moment when Kylo was unconscious and Hux kind of goes for his blaster and then Kylo wakes up and he's like, never mind. Like, I love their dynamic. I always have. So, yes, it sounds like Kylo Ren is the new Supreme Leader and Hux is serving him. I mean, they butted heads a little bit, but I think Hux is going to give way to Kylo Ren because Hux doesn't have the Force. Kylo Ren can throw him around, choke him. He did both of those things. So yeah, I think Hux is still a general and Kylo Ren just replaced Snoke. Mylan Grinfell wants to know, why do you think Admiral Holdo was so secretive about her plan to go to Crate? It caused a lot of unnecessary trouble with Finn and Rose going to the ship because they thought it was their only choice. I agree, and I don't really know. I thought that was strange from a story perspective. It's like, okay, now they have to go to Canto Bight to get a slicer so they can sneak onto this ship, only to immediately get caught and not do what they were going to do. And meanwhile, Poe is staging a mutiny to buy them all time so they can jump away. And then it turns out that Holdo has this plan and Poe's like, wow, that's actually a really great idea. If she had just told them the plan, then Finn and Rose wouldn't have gone off. They wouldn't have picked up a slicer that would have then told the First Order about the cloaked ships. Like, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. Marcus W. says, Luke Skywalker is Star Wars, and I think it was such an unworthy ending for him. It felt so unrewarding seeing him facing Kylo Ren, only to find out he was still on Ahch-To and dies there, all alone. What do you think about this? I don't think it's true to say that Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. I mean, he's been in 4 of the 9 movies, 5 if you want to count The Force Awakens, but he's been in less than to just over half of them, depending on how you want to look at it. And that's not counting all the comics, all the books, the TV shows. I mean, I don't think that's fair to say. But to just talk about your point about it being unrewarding, I am not thrilled that he became one with the Force at the end. I think it was a really cool show of power. Obviously, he was incredibly strong with the Force. He had kind of cut himself off from the Force, and then his arc was bringing himself back. I would have liked to see him continue on to get some redemption as a teacher and a master. Instead, and again, I wouldn't say that he died alone so much, because he did get to reunite with Leia and 3PO and even his nephew, even if it was more spiritual. And I liked that it was kind of a spiritual battle, at least from his point of view, not in Kylo's. But I don't know. I don't know that it was unrewarding, but I also do have mixed feelings about it. Timothy Ritter asks, what do you think about Leia flying back to the bridge? Also, what type of ship are the Resistance bombers? The Resistance bombers are just that. They're Resistance bombers. That's all we know about them so far. Maybe the visual guide will give us more information, but I don't have that yet. As for Leia flying back to the bridge, it gave me chills. It was a little bit just... I thought she was going to die. And then you see her reach out. And, I mean, I guess her being exposed to the vacuum, it seemed like she should have died, but I still thought it was cool. It was nice to see her use the Force. Even if it was like, I guess in my mind it was kind of an instinct thing, that she just has that ability. We haven't really seen her use any Force abilities in canon, but it's cool to know that they're there. Josh Cornelius wants to know, why did Luke's projection get a Just for Men beard? That was all about Kylo Ren. He wanted to buy time for the Resistance, so he showed up looking exactly like he looked when he almost killed Ben Solo. And that worked. It made Kylo just full of rage. He wanted every gun on that man, and then he went out to face him himself. I mean, that's all that was just prodding at Kylo Ren to buy more time for the Resistance. Andrew asks, so if Space Boston Market sold roasted porg, what would you get as sides? I would definitely get whatever liquid came out of that, like, giraffe cow thing, and then I guess a fish, because that seems to be all Octo has. You can get fish, porg, or giraffe cow milk. Kurt Wedden says, The Force Awakens dictated that The Last Jedi had to begin immediately after, but do you think we'll see a larger time jump between The Last Jedi and Episode 9? I don't think The Force Awakens dictated that The Last Jedi had to start immediately after. That was Rian Johnson's choice. He saw the way it ended, and he decided, I would really like to tell the story of Rey and Luke's first interaction. It could have jumped forward a year, and Rey could have been training under Luke for a year, but that's just not the story that Rian Johnson wanted to tell. That said, I do think there will be a bigger time jump, because there was zero time jump at all between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, so even if it's a day, it's going to be bigger. But yeah, I think it's going to be maybe a year, maybe some months, I don't know, but it'll definitely be bigger. Michael Sweat wants to know, where the hell was my boy Snap Wexley? Is he supposed to be dead? Was he at the base but off screen at the end? Did he leave on a different transport? I don't know. I didn't think about it until I saw your question, and I don't know. I would expect that he's still alive somewhere. I don't think that they would just kill him off screen, or more, I think they just weren't thinking about it when they made this film, so that means that he's probably still alive. And since JJ is directing Episode 9 and Greg Grunberg is like his lucky charm, I'm positive we will see him in Episode 9. Cold Pizza says, Kylo says to Rey that he wants to start over and mentions the Sith in the list of things he wants to do away with. Does that mean Snoke was a Sith? No. We've been told multiple times that Snoke was something else. He was not a Sith. I think Kylo was just throwing that out there as one of those things that, like you said, he just wants to get rid of. The Dark Savior 755 asks, do you think part of the reason why Kylo Ren destroyed his helmet was for eye candy due to Adam Driver's handsomeness? And why did Snoke all of a sudden dislike Kylo's helmet? I don't think Snoke all of a sudden disliked the helmet. I think he just entertained the helmet because Kylo wanted to wear it to be more like Darth Vader. And Snoke is like, well, I want you to be the next Darth Vader, so yeah, you go ahead and you wear it, you do what you have to do. But when Kylo Ren comes in, he's just been, like Snoke says, you just got beat by someone who's never even held a lightsaber. Take that stupid thing off your face. He's just mad at him. And then, yeah, that makes Kylo want to destroy the helmet. I think it's part of his whole let the past die, kill it if you have to mantra. That was just part of his past. He probably wants to carve out a new path for himself, and destroying the helmet was the first step in his action plan. Darth Revan wants to know, where were the Knights of Ren during The Last Jedi? I would also like to know that. I do have a theory that maybe they were the Praetorian Guards. I think that's a possibility. That maybe Kylo was in charge of the Knights of Ren, and then maybe after that they fell under Snoke's jurisdiction and leadership, and then maybe they transitioned into the Praetorian Guard. I don't know. I was really hoping we would learn more specifics about the Knights of Ren. We just didn't. And our last two questions are about a similar topic. Lucas de Carvalho Maria says, did that kid right at the end of the movie use the Force to move that broomstick to his hand? Yes, he did. And El Vargas asks, what do you think the boy with the Force at the end of The Last Jedi means? I think it's just kind of telling the audience, like, there are more people out there with the Force. There is a new generation of Jedi to be taught. Whether they go with Jedi teachings as we classically know them. I mean, I spoke a lot about maybe they would make a new order that's more focused on balance. I think I was probably wrong. I think that Luke saying, I will not be the last Jedi, that he was saying, Rey will be a Jedi. So I think they're going to keep going down the Jedi path, and I think that there are more kids out there that are ready to be taught. So that's what I think they were trying to convey with the kid using the Force on the broom. That's all the time I have for questions this week. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you remember last week, we started a new giveaway in our gift guide video. It was the biggest giveaway we've ever done, and it's time to announce the winner. That is Jared Karchner. So congratulations, Jared. I already sent you an email. All you need to do is reply and give me your shipping address, and we will get that stuff out to you ASAP. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.